What is with the controversy surrounding the movie Turning Red? I really don't get it. I watched this movie before the negative reviews came out, and I honestly thought it was super relatable and adorable. Spoiler alert for those who haven't seen the movie, but basically there are a whole ton of parents taking issue with a lot of things in this movie. Mainly Meilin Lee, who is labeled as irritatingly obnoxious and exhausting, according to some. And I really despise reviewers stating this because that's the point. That's the whole point. May is 13, and that age can sometimes, for most kids, be super hard to navigate. I'm not saying there are no 13-year-olds who aren't completely cringe, but I don't think I've met many who weren't, and that includes myself when I was 13. So what do you think? And who should I draw next from Turning Red? I'm just gonna say it. The movie Turning Red is a giant metaphor for periods. That said, I don't think that's the only focus on the movie, and it's wild that that's one of the only takeaways some people have with this film. Yes, it's a huge change, but I think what I'm bothered by the most is the fact that many feel that this movie is very alienating to people because not everyone can relate to getting periods, which is fine, but it's crazy to think that not everyone can relate to puberty in general because I'm pretty sure almost every human goes through it. And I feel that that's the biggest thing about this movie, not just periods only, but puberty in general. So here's my take on Meilin Lee in her panda form, and who should I draw next from Turning Red? Why did Meilin's mom hate Miriam so much? I can't really understand it. Nothing Miriam does is really weird or worthy of it. I mean, at least in comparison to, say, May's other friend Abby, whose incredibly energetic personality is definitely something that, say, my own mom would find overwhelming. And it's not that I can't relate. Trust me, I've had plenty of close friends growing up that my mom never liked. For instance, I had a goth friend once that my mom really thought was going to turn me into a pierced, tattooed, heavy makeup wearing devil worshiper. But Miriam never gives off any vibes that could cause a mom to be distressed, in my opinion. But maybe out of all her friends, May was closest to Mir, and perhaps Ming felt May was growing too close to Miriam and pulling away from her. What do you think? And who should I draw next from Turning Red? Did Priya's queer representation arc get axed by Disney? Recently, I've been reading comments on my Turning Red series stating that they haven't watched the movie due to its homophobia. I got confused at first as I didn't know exactly what they were referring to, but I looked into it and it seems Priya may have had an actual queer story arc that Pixar wanted but Disney cut. We definitely see it in a very you might just miss it if you're not paying attention sort of way when Priya interacts with the goth girl at Tyler's party. Regardless, it's disheartening to know this, as there are plenty of LGBTQIA+ teens who could have seen themselves in Priya, but once again were denied that as this isn't the first time Disney does this. So what are your thoughts? And who should I draw next from Turning Red? I'm 100% here for the absolute chaotic energy Abby has from Turning Red. The girl is wild in the best of ways, and every time she was on screen, there was never a moment that was dull with her. Her expressions were big and loud and cute, and she just strikes me as someone who's kind of super passionate. And it definitely seems like she resonated with you all too, because I got tons of comments across TikTok, Insta, and YouTube asking for her next, so here she is. I definitely wanted to make sure her gremlin energy showed through in her expression, and I think I captured that. I also feel like if a spin-off show were made from Turning Red, Abby would be perfect for it. I'd totally watch a series based around her wild antics and just general off-the-wall personality. So follow for more, and who should I draw next from Turning Red?